Alright, so top tier. And, you have a slightly heavier comp. It'll be interesting. You can actually play either side. You can play, if you push this one line to this rock, it's not a bad play. Otherwise, you can play town. I typically play town because I think the results that you get tend to be more consistent. Oh, should do something. Not slow computer. And so it looks like most, no, you've got some heavies going to the east, so it looks like a pretty even split. These guys are going to camp all way too far back here. They're not going to push up. So this side is going to be a wash, essentially. You just hope that you don't lose it, like, badly. That would be the one drawback of that. And you can play strong in the town. Their two T-69s are in the middle, but see how they're middle west? That's good for this town side, because unless they come over here, they're not going to be able to help anything on this side. They're too far to the west to actually affect you guys over here, so that's something that you have to watch. Same thing with their scouts, but the light tanks can move over a lot easier. You, on the other hand, don't have anybody in the middle, and that's always going to be bad for the town side. Your Chaffee ran up to this G1 area. That's good. These two guys can support him. These guys are all currently useless. You didn't get any lights over here, so you don't know what's over here. But you know that they have at least two of their high 8s on the other side. Ooh, and the T-34. So if you want, since you're platooned with this guy, you can do a little bit of exploration like you are. There's a WZ-111 over to your right. Not a big deal. It's actually probably useful for you to actually go out and get him, though.
It's a trap!
Lol, that Russian accuracy. And then just check, you wanted to check that corner before you continue pushing forward here. And then you want to wait for your buddy here so you can do 2-for-1s. That was like the weirdest way to, oh wow, I guess you can't shoot through that car. When you want to set up the reverse side scrape like that, don't drive out and then reverse in front of him. You want to reverse and then drive out the end. Because ideally what you want to be able for him to do is to shoot that sort of front... let's see, how can I do this? I can't get my cursor and not have the map up in this mode, unfortunately. You want him to shoot your front drive wheel as it sort of pokes out at him. And so your guys are getting pushed on the other side, so you guys have to be aggressive on this side. You can actually clear through here, and the problem is that you don't really have anybody in the middle still, but you should see if you can figure out where there's going to be, you know, probably at least one or if not 2 or 3 already still on this side. And you can go around the back of this house to the left of where you're at right now. Right now, for the number of tanks that you have over here, you guys have to clear this out as quickly as you can. And so right now, one of the problems is that you and your platoon mate are not working together at all.
It's a trap!
Ooh, are you like lagged out? Or why is the reticle like over there? Oh, okay. Oh, maybe you got your turret broken. I wasn't watching. Anyhow, so see how they're coming in through the backside now? You actually need to go back because you cleared out that IS-3, which is important. But now you need to go back and make sure that these guys go down. Because the T-69s, who weren't really doing anything before because they were on the wrong side of the map, are now basically going to be able to undercut you guys. And then again, you guys really need to work together, you and your platoon mate. You keep separating and basically going one at a time.
It's a trap!
It's fine. And so the GW Panther is still up. So the GW Panther is most likely in K1. So the way that you want to set up is always to be safe from K1. The T-69 probably is going to make it across. You can go over to like this side of this house, right? And that'll protect you from the artillery.
It's a trap!
Yeah, I don't know. Something's buggy when like you auto aim or something like that. It like the reticle, the server reticle like locks on my screen or something.
It's a trap!
That guy's actually not as much of a concern as the T-69, actually. And then, so, the way you're going right now, you actually need to go more to your... You actually need to go more over here, because otherwise these guys up there, you don't control the middle, they're going to shoot you. The T-71 is not your problem right now. Your problem is the T-69 here. Who might be reloading. Oh, okay, there he goes. But you definitely want to get like on his side of the rock. You'd much rather get shot by the T-69 than by the T-34-1 or, okay, the GW Panther's down, so you don't need to worry about the GW Panther. Alright, that's fine. And you and your platoon mate are still here, and you've got a lot of health. You need to get out of where you're at, though, because where you're at is not a good position for you guys. And you can push over to that side if you want. You can also counter push this way. It actually is probably smarter to counter push these guys, because this T-28 Proto won't be able to maneuver in time to get you. Right, and you would have fire support from these guys. Like if you light that T-34, these guys can shoot him. And then see how you guys both need to go, though. And then you need to not expose yourself to this side. So, like you haven't really been shot that much yet, but the major problem that I see in the major flaw that I see in your positioning is that you're always vulnerable to one side or the other. And then so this is the exact same thing. All you have to do, if you drove up this side of this hill, you would have been safe from that guy, and you could have pushed that T-34-1, which is still something that you need to do. But you're getting further and further away from your buddy. And then see how they're pushing up that one line? They're going to be able to flank him soon. So what you want to be able to do is push this T-34-1 so that if they try to come up over on top of him, you can be over here to shoot them. What you absolutely don't want to do is sit right there. Like, you're basically sitting in a crossfire.
It's a trap!
You want to push that T-34-1. Or hope that you can cap out. So because of your positioning in this field, you basically bled like, 800 to 900 health, which is not good. And you're not going to win if you camp there. You're going to need to push that center. Ideally, again, this guy would come over and help you. But you're still in a horrible, horrible, horrible position, because if they control this one line, and it will be relatively easy for them to do, because that T-34's got a decent amount of health. We don't know about the T-28, but the T-28 is going to be able to cover this guy, this lane right here where your guy is pushing. And then this is, once again, you guys are working independently of each other. You're not working together at all. Right, and you know their team is clearing off your cap, but you've been sitting back here for a minute, 90 seconds. So basically you waited until your team died. So they did the exact right thing, right? They went back, they cleared out the cap, and then now they can use their superior numbers to attack you. And so right now, you're probably best off actually getting back to where your buddy is. Because eventually they're going to push up either this one lane over here, or they're going to, right, so what they want to do is just encapsulate. Because, I mean, you're screwed either way because you're in the middle of a field. But once they encapsulate, they'll be able to spot and shoot you from multiple directions, and there won't be anything that you can do about it. And the same thing about your friend. So your friend over here actually needs to play over more this way so that he can see them pushing up the one line. Otherwise, they're basically going to appear right here for him, and that's going to be too late. Like, he won't be able to react in time to that.
It's a trap!
You're still exposing yourself too much to the west.
It's a trap!
Okay, so T-28 Proto is in the middle. So this is great. So they put basically all their ducks
It's
in
a
a line, which doesn't make much sense. I mean, you don't know where the T-71 is, but... And this is, again, the problem with your positioning, is that at this point, you can't go anywhere. There's literally nowhere where you can run. Yeah, so anyways, that was fine. I think you guys did a good job over here. I think you did a good job of pushing over here. Work on setting up your reverse angle so you don't expose so much when you do it. But otherwise, I thought that was perfect. I thought that was a perfect amount of aggression on this side. And then you kind of stopped. Once that IS-6 died over here, you kind of slowed down. You kind of waited over here. Your IS-6 buddy pushed in on that IS-3 that was over here, which is the right thing to do. But you sat back and waited. And that was something where you guys, if he goes, you go. I mean, that's the way that it works. And the same thing, you went back, which is the right thing to do, to take out those T-69s, but you went and he didn't. He was slow. And then the problem was that once the GW Panther went down, you were fine. You didn't really need to worry about when you were pushing back to catch their T-71 and their T-69. But you stayed here, and here is bad. I mean, this is just, you're going to get killed by something. You didn't control this middle lane. You didn't control the 1 line. You didn't control the 8 line. Right? What you had was one guy right here, one guy right here, and 2 guys on cap. So you had 2 guys on one side of the map and 2 guys on the other side of the map, and neither one can help the other. And then all they did was just spot those guys on the cap, right? And while you guys were just sitting here waiting, they killed everybody over here. What you really should have done is both of you guys, once that T-69 went down, both of you guys should have pushed that T-34-1 by going over on this side of the hill where the T-34 that was pushing up couldn't shoot you. You just counter. Once you control, this middle area is incredibly important, particularly in the mid to late game, because you get a lot of vision and shots from there. So you just basically counter push that. You know that the T-28 was on the 1 line. You know that the T-34 was on the on this 2 line here. There was nothing stopping you from pushing that T-34-1, and you should have done it together, right? The cap is actually really easy to defend from either side, right? That's why it was so easy for them to kill you. Actually, this side is actually, I think it was a little bit harder to defend, but it depends on how your vision is set up. But you didn't have enough map control to assert yourself at that point, because you were basically stuck over here, and your friend was over here, but he didn't really have very much vision at all. He didn't spot that T-34 until that T-34 was like halfway to you. Alright, so if we look at the stats, let's see. You did a good job of shooting things. Oh man, IS-6, 6 pens on 14 shots. That's not so good, but this is good. 13 for 16. That's pretty good efficiency. Yeah, you didn't really get a whole lot out of the rest of your team. When you see those tank destroyers go over to the west, don't ever expect to get a whole lot out of them. Just tank destroyers just don't do very well over there. I don't think, unless their team just kind of pushes in foolishly. But that's somewhat rare. Well, that's not something that you can count on anyways, but yeah, nice try. GG. Alright, the next one is a T-44 game on steps. Yeah, it's a lot of tank destroyers on both teams. So teams like this tend to be a little bit campy. That's actually good on a map like this, especially since you can control this line over here. So you'll want to send. You're one of the You're pretty much the fastest tank here. So you'll probably want to be the guy who scouts out here, and a lot of it is just you do a half loop and see if either A, you get lit, or B, you light something. They don't really have anything speed wise that can compete with you. And then we'll have to see what your team does. Looks like you've got a bunch of 8s headed west, which is not so good. You got tank destroyers setting up here, which is also not so good. But you got an E25, a 5100. I don't know where the 5100 is going. Alright, 5100 is probably not to be counted on. So you're not going to have a whole lot of fire support over here. So again, you want to just do a little partial loop. You can go, like, literally just drive straight up through here and then do a little loop, because where you're going right now, you're not going to spawn anything. And what you really want to do is you want to spot things early, especially when you know that you're not going to have much support, because if you spot a crap ton of tanks right now, you want to be able to turn around and leave. You don't want to, like, peek around this corner and there's already 5 tanks there, is what I'm saying, because then it's too late.
It's a trap!
And then you don't want to sit on this corner for too long, because it's somewhat easy for artillery to hit there.
It's a trap!
And then this is one of those things where if you keep going back to this well, you have to understand the consequences of your actions. I would have hit you by now. And then see how their team is spread out, right? They're doing a bunch of camping, which happens a lot in these tank destroyer type games. So one of the things that you can do is you need to reposition, because you can't push that Panther really easily by just going across at him. But you could drive back up, see where the C-25 is, and then drive all the way up there and then push into them, or at least have an idea of what's behind him. Because right now you're having no impact on the game.
It's a trap!
So once again, when you see guys on this low ground, see where this Panther is on this high ground? If you just come up through here, you can get to this Panther, and this charioteer won't be able to do anything about it. Basically, right now, you're just camping. Yes, you're on the weak side, but their side is weak too. And so you can take this low ground. See how you did that? You can take that as long as you don't think that that charioteer is going to come back. And then you just want to come back up on this ridge right here. You'll get a shot into the side of the Panther, and then you go back down. See, that was perfect.
It's a trap!
And then eventually that charioteer is gonna come up. He'll be right over there, or he'll try to come around the back. Usually it'll be over this top over here. But otherwise, you get a free kill on the Panther. And then you want to be able to kill this charioteer. And this is going to be slightly more painful, unless you can circle him. He's going to be down there someplace, probably. Maybe he left. Yeah, because if he didn't push around by now, see where that 5100 is? The 5100 didn't spot him. So he probably rolled back this way. Yeah, there he is. So he's already out. See how you've got 6 tanks still in your base, and the arty. These guys are going to die. It's difficult to push over this ridge right here, especially when they have a lot of tank destroyers, so you have to be careful. I would peek. If you don't like what you see, just leave. Just go back and come back through the base and help your guys.
It's a
There's a
trap!
Roomba right there. You do not want to. If he's not shooting at you, that's fine, but otherwise you do not want to try to trade with that guy. Yeah, so this is not going to be a good situation for you. He's got a lot of fire support back there. You don't really have the gun depression or the turret armor to make it work. So go all the way back and help these guys out over here. Like, you're trying to get a bad shot.
It's
And
a
it's like,
trap!
none of these guys in the base are killing your guys over here. The guys that are killing these guys over here are these guys over here. And so even if you were getting great shots over here, it's kind of inconsequential because it's not like you're going to push through there, right? You want to be able to, like even right now, you need to go back to your base to help these guys out.
It's a trap!
I have no idea. I mean, your team is just retarded, but you need to be over there shooting these guys. I mean, the meat shields that you had over here are now dead, which is going to make your job even more difficult. But you still need to be back here. And then see now, for some reason, these guys are flexing over. Right now, these guys should be flexing back because you can protect this cap really easily. But so far, like, the primary thing has been your positioning. You just there was times where you're just sitting around and waiting for things to happen, and there's times when you're taking shots at things, and even if you do damage, like if your team is dying someplace else and you had an opportunity to try to get back and make a difference there, like all of these guns were out of the game. If you weren't there, right, if your 5100 wasn't there, they would have nothing to shoot at. They would just be sitting there. It's the exact same thing that happened on your team, right? All of these guys, they basically did no damage because they weren't ever in position to actually shoot anything. So it's inconsequential to shoot them. It's important to shoot the important tanks first. And then once again, you can wait until they come all the way up onto the cap, and then you can shoot them. You don't really need to spot them and shoot them from a huge distance, especially when you know that a lot of them are one-shot. Alternatively, you could push in to see if you can get to a position over here where you can shoot these guys, but that window is always going to close quickly. But you do have to shoot these guys as they come in, though. But you do okay. So what you want to do is you want to turn your gun that way, drive the other way, and then get up on like this hill, because you have to understand you're going to need to do the spotting too. And at this point, yes, you might as well take out the E-25 first. Just literally just drive straight in on him.
It's a trap!
And ram him. And then be careful, because artillery is still the person who has the best shots at you, because you're below the hill to those guys over there. And they're going to be sending guys through this middle over here, so they're going to have guys on this line at some point as well.
It's a trap!
You don't want to try to trade that. Lol, HE. So that, where they were positioned, suggests that they're not going to try to push forward. So what you still need to do, this is just like any other game where you need to trade really well. What you want to do is catch them coming across an open area. So you sit on anywhere you scout anywhere on this hill. You let your artillery kill the IS-6, right? But what you need to do is you need to catch this guy that's coming in over on this side. Because as long as you have your artillery, then you don't have to worry about the cap,
It's
per
a
se.
trap!
But at some point, somebody's going to come over here. And so the problem with your position is, one, you keep going back to the same position. Relocate. Especially when you know they have a lot of guns. Because basically, any guy who's not in a position to shoot you is going to get into a position to shoot you. And they're not putting any cap pressure on you at all. So don't...
It's a trap!
Like, don't feel a need to push over there unless you're trying to catch somebody crossing an area. And once again, artillery is the person who has the easiest shots on you right now. But eventually there's going to be guys over here. And so you still want to be more active than you are when there's a lot of tanks. Just because if you stay in the same area, eventually they're just going to get enough guys in the local area. But if you're constantly moving, you're going to run into somebody eventually. But that's why you want to catch them coming across.
It's a trap!
Oh, nice shot. Don't keep going back to the same well. No, don't do it. Oh, no. Now take your time. Oh my god. Take your time and get a good shot. He shot, already missed. Nobody else has a shot. Take your time. Okay, and then now you might as well relocate.
It's a trap!
I think probably that charioteer, if he's smart, would just come around on this side. I don't understand why people don't flank in this game. It just boggles the mind. So the Roomba's sort of out of position.
It's a trap!
Oh, nice shot. You still need to try to secure this area over here. Oh, okay. The IS-6 are the easy 8s on the cap, but they move through, so it doesn't really matter.
It's a trap!
Lol. Nice work. Now go back towards your cap, right? Because you got a one-shot guy over here, the Easy 8 as well. Either the IS-6 or the Easy 8 is pushing you right now, though. So they're going to be like right around. Be sad. But yeah, so anyways, I think a lot of your issues, I mean, your team didn't help you out, but a lot of your issues were you were way too patient when you needed to be. You needed to be in a hurry-up offense, and you were in a prevent defense for some reason. And a lot of that is when you start seeing your team bleeding, or when you think that you're going to lose a flank, you need to be reactive to that. You can't just wait. You can't just, I mean, you were shooting guys in their base, which, I mean, I would argue that every single one of those guys were inconsequential. It's kind of like that if you were watching when we were playing Strongholds on, what is that map? Stalingrad? No, it wasn't Stalingrad. The other city one, where Token like stopped to shoot at a guy, and I was like, there's absolutely no reason for Token to stop and shoot at that guy. That guy was not preventing our team from winning. Or you know, the best thing that Token could have done is just to drive through to kill the guys that matter. And like I felt like you got a lot of shots and a lot of damage on guys who it didn't really matter. I felt like you could have pushed that Panther earlier, especially through that upper plateau when that charioteer was down low. And when you eventually did it, you did it properly, and it was good execution. That's what you want to see. And then again, you know, when you're in that situation where you know that you have to trade really well, you need to look for opportunities where you can spot them coming across areas. Like open areas, like you want to spot them, and that's one of the nice things about the cap zones is on this particular map is that if they get on the cap, it's actually fairly easy to reset them, right? You can spot them from anywhere on this, basically from anywhere from like over here to all the way down here, depends on where you go, right? You can pop over at any point or around the corner at any point. And then also do your best to relocate between shots, because especially when they have a large number of tanks, you don't want to keep going back to the same area, poke up over the same hill, get the shots on the same guy, poke up over the same hill, get the shots on the same guy. Alright, anyhow, so let's see. Yeah, I mean, your shot efficiency wasn't horrible considering the types of shots that you're getting. You should have been able to kill that Roomba though. Once he missed and the artillery missed, there's times when you need to take snapshots, because you don't really have a very good window. And then there's times if he shoots and you know they already shot, take your time, make sure that you hit it. Make those shots count. Those shots have to count. Those ones, those freebies become incredibly important, right? It's like missing free throws at the end of a game. It's killer. Good game though. I mean, it would have been nice if your team had given you a little bit of support there, but Dems to breaks. GG. Alright, next on deck is Object 140 and Erlenberg. Alrighty, so they have a relatively light comp, although you've got a lightish comp. It's pretty much the same, HP wise. You have a platoon of mediums. You spawned on the north side. So one of the things that you can do, this is somewhat problematic, but if you have a relatively fast tank, like the Leo could do this as well, especially since there's no artillery, is you want to go up here as soon as you can, see how many of their mediums that they sent, and if they sent a lot, just bail. Just bail. There's no reason to stay there. The south side has the advantage of winning this D9 if they actually push it. So you want to go there and see what's there, but if there's a lot there, you need to have an exit plan, especially when you see like a lot of your team go west. A lot of the north play is through the west, so when you go east, you have to understand that you're probably not going to get a lot of support. When you have no intel. So like this Leo can actually, especially when there's no artillery, can go over to this hill right there, just peek over it, and spot them coming across, and be entirely safe. So it doesn't look like their team pushed forward, at least there's nothing that your Leo has spotted. You don't want to be too aggressive though, again, because you just don't have the firepower on this side.
It's a trap!
They have 5100 on this inside, but that 5100 is actually not in as good of a position because he can get shot through this middle right here. The E50M really isn't doing anything other than lighting you. Like, I would try to see if I get shots on this guy. They're also pushing on this side. Your guy over here, I think this is the Leo, is somewhat vulnerable where he's at. And this is one of those things where if you're not getting good shots at where you're at, and you're not, like, in a critical cover position, then you should consider moving. That was a nice shot. Can't believe this 5100 is still alive. But anyways, like one place where you can move is down onto this 5 line, because these guys are constantly lit, but there's nobody to shoot them. Like this E50 could move right over here, and he could shoot them pretty easily if he wanted. At this point, the best thing that could possibly happen is that they just try to push your E50M. Because otherwise, right, as it is right now, you're either going to stand still over here, and this is like one of the things, like when you have this platoon, see how their team isn't putting much pressure on you? You could have basically just taken your platoon, left, come all the way back over here, and push the other side if you wanted. Because you guys are not going to be able to push this side. Like, I think you recognize that you're not going to be able to push this side. But you need to do something, and so sitting here probably isn't going to win you the game. Well, it looks like they're shifting at least some of their guys over to that west side for some reason. Because like right now, like you can still actually go and probably clean up this west side if you wanted. Just leave all of these guys over here. And you know the JPE is on the other side, so you can actually come over on this side, can see where this medium is, and you can get shots on those guys. Like where you're at right now, you're gonna have to move forward in order to shoot down. Oh, they're pushing in. Oh, what's your E50 doing? Ram the bat chat.
It's a trap!
Nice work. Shoot. No, I was gonna say shoot the other bat chat. And get in front of your buddy, man. Get in front of your buddy! Save him! Oh, okay. Okay, and then, so now you still have good position. There's no need for you to push back over here, right? These are all relatively slow tanks. Don't worry about it. You still ideally can go and help your guys over on this other side because none of these tanks are really going to camp here. And right now you're kind of in a vulnerable position to getting shot in the ass. He's going to try to ram your buddy. Or he's going to try to ram you for some reason. This guy really doesn't like you. Lol. No, and that's one of the things. This is 1-2s. Simple 1-2s. If he's looking at you, you do not poke. 100%. You never poke. You have a platoon mate who's competent on the other side. You took a shot of damage you absolutely did not need to take. If he stares at you the whole time, you just let your buddy kill him. Okay, and then so what you actually want to do is ideally be able to keep one guy back and then one guy over here.
It's a trap!
Oh no, run. And it's actually really easy to spot the cap from like this A7 area. This guy's probably a little bit too far forward for a Leo. You can get shots right here. No, back. He'll turn. Oh, just wait. He'll still turn. Aim a little bit to your left. Oh, he's gonna drop spot. Oh, that works too. You're gonna need to try to get on this line over here. Otherwise your Leo's gonna eventually just get, they're gonna get enough firing angles that they're gonna be able to hit him from someplace. Right, so you know that most of their tanks are still on this north side, which leaves the center, right, and the weakest tank there is the Bulldog. Wow, I'm surprised that hit. Nice work. And that leaves even more of a reason to play this middle area right here. Your Leo needs to get out of there if he can. I don't know if he can or not. You can wait. He's going to come over to you. Because you basically want him to come over to a position... Oh no, your buddy shot at him. You want him to come over to a position where your platoon mate can get shots on him as well. Because you trading against him solo is going to be a little bit difficult just because of the health differential. Right, it would take you solo. I mean, even if you were able to kill him, he would take some health off of you. If he's going to push around on that side, right, so the Centurion 7-1 is the biggest threat. See, Leo's actually playing it right, but you guys have to be careful. You don't want to chase him now. What you want to be able to do is just go down over there and shoot up this way, right? And then if they push, then you come back, right? You'll get shots. All these guys have to do is fall back. But you guys are all sort of bunched up right now, and so nobody has shots on the Leo. That's it. See where your RU-251 went? In theory, the right idea, but he went to the wrong side. He went to the side where everybody could shoot him, basically. And then you don't... the Centurion 7-1, he might be an easy shot for you, but it's more important for you to shoot the Leo. It is absolutely more important for you to shoot the Leo. The Centurion 7-1 is not the guy who's killing you. The guy who's killing you is this Leo. He's about to kill your friend.
It's a trap!
Now you just need to push him. You just need to push him. Okay, this is actually still somewhat easy. So kill this Leo 1, right? And then peek over on the Centurion 7-1. You want to get as far away from the E50 as possible. As far away as from the E50. So you either want to go over right there or you go all the way out.
It's a trap!
The E50M is going to come from over on this side someplace. And how much damage was that? 1 shot of damage? Now, where could you have saved 1 shot of damage from? I don't know. It's just tough. No, I'm sorry. That's a little bit unfair, but it's true, but it's unfair. So I thought you guys actually did fine in controlling this side, given what you had and what you were up against. But there's also that sort of notion that you weren't really getting that good of shots, and your buddies actually weren't really getting that good of shots until their team started getting more aggressive. That's when you guys actually started dealing more damage. So really, what happened was that you lost this side just barely. I mean, a lot of those tanks that came off of this side were pretty weak, and all you guys had to do, right? Because those guys were not pressuring you at all, even though they had a tank advantage. They weren't pressuring you at all. You guys are all in relatively fast tanks. At any point, you could have just left and they wouldn't have known. Like, you could have just bailed, and then you could have won this side, and then you can do whatever you want, right? And again, that's sort of the idea that you could save tanks. But otherwise, I mean, even not doing that, it's sort of fine. The only thing that I don't like about that is that it's a little bit too reactive. You're sitting here not really getting any shots, and you're hoping that you don't lose too badly on this side. Like, that's essentially what you're resigned to by staying on this side, because there's no way that there's a very, very low probability that you guys could have pushed into them and been successful. So you guys weren't going to create a win on this side. You were just hoping that you didn't lose this side, and you did lose, but you didn't lose that badly. And that's I don't like that. Just my personal preference is not to be sitting on one side of the map hoping that the other side loses when I have something to do about it. And when you're in a fast tank, you almost always have something to do about it. And so the other thing is that a lot of times it's sort of working with your platoon mates and trying to keep them alive, whether that's going and taking shots for them when they're low health, or their E50M was trying to ram you for some reason instead of the Leo. What the Leo should do is shoot to track the E50M. Even if you don't deal damage, it's more important for him to track him and prevent him from ramming you, or from ramming him, right? Those types of small plays make a difference in the game. Those types of things add up. Your Leo 1 went up here, which was good, but eventually he was going to get whittled down, right? And so at some point you either have to change positions with him, right? Because he was down to 200 health, and so anybody could have got a little pop shot off on him, because the Leo it's not like it has a strong turret or anything. And so you have to talk to and work with your platoon mates in that sense as well. In the end, you almost were able to pull it off, but crap happens, and that's one of the things, especially when you know that guy's pushing your Leo. you didn't need to shoot that Centurion 7-1. You could have shot the Leo. Maybe that would have caused him to pause and think about pushing your buddy. Maybe not. Your buddy should have actually been a little bit closer to where you're at, but that's kind of a minor quibble. But yeah, that Centurion, it wasn't like that Centurion 7-1 was gonna like warp over here and shoot your friend. The only person who was gonna kill him was that Leo, or eventually that E50 was gonna come around the side. Yeah, you didn't get a whole lot of help for your team. This Waffentrager did all of his damage at the very very end there. Yeah, unfortunate. Nice try. Shot efficiency was, you didn't really have that many good shots, but you bounced a lot. Like shooting that E50M turret, it's kind of sketchy. You didn't really have any better shots, but that's one of those things where if that's the best shot that you're getting, like shots on a small part of a moving E50M turret, you have to think about going someplace where you can get better shots. I mean, unless you're the linchpin of that defense, preventing them from pushing around on your team, yeah, I think you probably should have gone someplace else. Just because their team played that east side really passively, right? They didn't. The only guy who moved forward was the E50M, and they had a lot of tanks there. But GG, nice try.